Hi, I'm Sarah from The Upcoming. An absolute pleasure to be with you here in Venice. Huge congratulations on this incredible film. For people who haven't seen it yet, can you give us a brief introduction? What can they expect when they come to watch Songs of Forgotten Trees?
The film talks about two women and their complexities. Two different migrants from different places of India comes and stays under the same apartment where they are indulged in two different businesses. They accept each other with their complexities, they accept each other with their flaws, they feel the unspoken intimacy between each other. The relationship blooms and it leads them to a strange path of life. The film is about that.
And it does feel like an aspect of women's lives. There's a sort of a restraint to it, but such nuance and subtlety that we often don't see on screen. Did you set out particularly to try and throw a spotlight on kind of these voices of these women that don't normally get heard, let's say?
I mean, yeah, that is there. I'll not deny, but the film is talking about more than their complexities. It is talking about their hidden emotional aspect where they found each other detached from the heterosexual idea, heterosexual relationship, and ended up finding each other, finding home into each other. So this is one thing I wanted to sort of talk it about. The intention was to portray two women and their intimate relationship more than platonic. Inside the story, rest of the things comes as byproduct, the surviving part. Thua is not just a sex worker. She's bold and she's doing it part-time. She's a wannabe actress. She's not a victim just like other woman who is abandoned by her father. Her father abandoned her childhood friend. Her mother was abandoned by her father. So a lot of abandonance, and at the same time, loss of a friend, the traumas that stayed with Thua, helping Thua understanding the other girl who just came to the city and started living with her. So she sublets the hall of the room to a lady who is also new to the city. The other girl also trying to survive, working as a call center corporate worker. With all her complexities, she fall in love with Thua first. And thus the relationship, between them started blooming. Not directly, but indirectly.
Coming to the genesis of the project, I understand, you actually, you did have a childhood friend, Juma, who sort of disappeared off or was married off at 13, and you were sort of ruminating on that loss and ways to sort of carve that into a story. And initially, maybe it would have been a documentary. So maybe you can say a bit about how that event in your life kind of sparked the story we see now.
Whenever I talk about Juma, and the situation with Juma, and the story behind Juma always evolved me as a person. It helped me seeing life from a different perspective, the way I used to see when I was with my parents in my village. So basically Juma and me she was my first friend, just like any high school girl, and she was the closest friend of mine. I had no friend before that. So I ended up sharing this thing with my father. Listen, I made my first friend. Her name is Juma Nath. And my father didn't find her name sober. In fact, the surname Nath, which belongs to the Dalit background of Bengal. And he clearly denied not to meet her. He asked me, you should not make friends with. Back then I was child. I was not aware about the casteism and the other stuff. So I sort of followed my father and stopped talking to my childhood friend. And the regret stayed with me. And when I was in class 8, I came to know she is getting married. And the marriage of her was not so personal, according to me. It became political when I came to know, when I was 22, I came to know that there was an initiative taken by the government of India that when a Dalit girl's marriage is fixed, government will help them to get the expenses done. So I understood that personal is so political, and I realized that government were not promoting marriages, but government was not promoting education, but promoting marriages. which really broke my heart. So the inspiration coming from that to talk about a friend who is already lost. I mean, I don't know where she is. The idea was shooting a documentary where I might find her. I didn't get the fund from the government organization, obviously, because I was about to talk a lot against them. So I ended up making a fiction just like any random director.
It's so beautifully shot. Maybe you can talk us through a bit the look and feel of the film, the way you use the apartment itself kind of as a character. It's such a key setting. How the two women sharing the space is often how they build connection, even if perhaps they're, washing their clothes next to each other or scrubbing a floor, but yet they're having these amazing conversations. So, maybe you can talk a bit about how you captured their relationship, but in this really unique way.
Oh yeah, it was very much planned because I never wanted to shot these two women under a structural shot division. So I rather let them play with the activities just like any random woman inside the house do. So you often see them talking while placing their clothes on the nod, washing dishes, while cooking, while eating, while washing clothes. So yeah, like it came like that because I was privileged enough to shoot inside my own rental apartment in Bombay. So things were pretty much easier for me to understand each and every corner of the apartment. The shots were always there inside the mind of me and the DOPs. We sort of discussed, decided that there will be always a observational point of view of the societal people who stays in the same society. So whenever these two women are in the balcony, you're gonna see them from a point of view of a different person. The lenses were like from the opposite of their apartment. I would consider myself privileged enough to shot in my own rental apartment, so there's nothing. But yeah.
When you sort of think of some key moments in the film, and one that feels so pivotal is when they have that wall between them and the conversation just moves seamlessly between sort of having this banter into something that becomes very sort of full of emotion, which feels so naturalistic and true to life, because that is how people communicate. And, you can go from laughing about something to suddenly, you've hit a nerve and you're opening up. So is that a really important scene too?
Yeah, that scene was so important. I remember myself couldn't develop in the very first stages of writing. I was like, I wanted to write something. The dialogues has to be innovative. It has to be very, very much natural dialogues rather than staged one. So basically, the scene really very close to my heart. The way I shot, the way the DOP shot the whole scene of the bathroom. I wanted it in a one go rather than taking as usual wide mid close. I wanted it to be in one go, one take shot. So yeah, the world tells the two different worlds which they are into, yet when the other character expresses herself as Jhuma, she was trying to deliver her expression and her feelings for Thua, the world became same. She enters literally into her world to console her, to pat her shoulder, and to hug her and to tell her that, listen, I think I like you. So this is how, the idea was this only, to let them express, because a lot of indirect thing happened. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna do something which is giving me more a sense of intimacy.
And maybe you can tell us a bit about your wonderful actresses, one which we have here, and how you discovered them, how you worked with them. I mean, it must have been an intense shoot as well. I mean, how long you must have been inside this apartment together? It must have been weeks and weeks.
You actually guessed it well. So me, Naz, and the other girls, we three used to stay in the same apartment because of the shoot. The moment we decided their audition, and we were like, we got to ship together, rather than sending them the scripts and let them prepare, I was like, okay, let us prepare. It cannot be one way always, only the actors are preparing. It has to be like me also preparing the same aspect of the script. So it was like a combined workshop where three of us trying to understand each other with our complexities. So this is how the song came into the film. Me and Naz Sheikh are like friends from 7 years. I never knew that she had a song something like this until unless she shifted to our apartment. She used to hum this song. The song was her late mother's song. It's a lullaby her mother used to sing for her. And the lyrics were so amazing, so deep that I couldn't help myself, but ended up using the same, just like any other selfish director.
And in terms of moments on set, did you have one that you loved, maybe that scene that we're talking about, that you loved to shoot the most, or one that you found most challenging?
Well, it's a very difficult question. Both were amazing in the film, but I loved shooting Thua a lot because Thua's character I could resonate with a lot. The kind of complexities as a young woman, who doesn't love those complexities? You know, she lived in the era where she carries her memories always with her. You know, in every conversation, she talks about the memories. She wants to visit the retreat of the childhood, the dysfunctional marriages, or marriage of her parents, the loss of the friend Jhuma Nath. It really like sort of, hold me a lot. On the other hand, Sweta was someone who was very much expressive in terms of understanding the intimacy between two of the characters. So I loved Sweta observing Thua more, the way it is showed in the film. So it was always decided that Sweta will come as a bit, Sweta will be just observing her and fall in love with her. And then she will also realize that, okay, this is not something casual, this is something more deeper. So this is how I use the other character, Sweta. So yeah, both did amazing. Yeah.
What do you hope people will take away from watching your film? And I think, as you mentioned at the beginning, you can see that these two women are in difficult circumstances, but they never seem like victims. There's definitely a sense of survival, of resilience, of finding kind of this light of connection between the two of them in a situation that can seem quite bleak. So even though it's not a sort of shout from the rooftops kind of joy, there's something optimistic that can be taken away, perhaps.
Oh, yeah. Well, a lot of optimistic things are there, to take away from the film. But then again, I won't be able to, accumulate that what the audience will take away. I let it to the audience, the way they want to observe, the way they want to perceive. So I end the film with an open ending where I'm letting the audience know that, they might be in a relationship, they might not be. They might be in the same loop where they are, encountering a lot of men, heterosexual relations, coming back to the same loop where they find peace in each other, home in each other. But if you ask me personally, I'd love to see them together. So there's a prequel of Songs of Forgotten Trees, which I'm going to develop, and the sequel. So yeah, I'd love to see them together. The intention was that.
And very quickly, what does it mean to you to have the film here? I know it's the only Indian film in the Horizons section, so that must be really key for you. And what do you hope to do next?
Well, it feels great that we shot a film and the film is in Horizon D section. I mean, it's a tremendous respective section where big filmmakers earlier from India, their films also were there. But one thing I realized is this, that I never made a film to send it to a festival. It was never meant for that. But, it's a bonus for me. I mean, who doesn't love to be at Venice? I always sort of dreamt of, I will not deny, sort of dreamt of be here. But I never thought that I'll be with the film. It really made me feel special, made us feel special from the background we're coming from. So, yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for sharing that with me. Huge congratulations, and really enjoy every moment presenting it here in Venice. Thank you so much.